Hey Mount Silver Battles, what is up? Ryan here, and I'm bringing you guys another double battle. The last two times, the first time I brought you a Smogon doubles, and the second time I brought you Battle Spot. This time I'm bringing you another Smogon doubles, but just to clarify on the rules, it's actually the rules are a little bit closer to Smogon Overused with the same clauses. The only difference is that it's 6v6 doubles. So that's really the only difference between this and Overused. You know, we have the same ban list as Overused and all that. So my opponent today is going to be Chucho, gchucho13 on Twitter. He also has a channel, and that will all be in the description below. So let me just talk about real quick what's going on here. This is for a draft league. So all the Pokemon you see on the field, we drafted individually. I know everything he has. We have a team of like 10, I believe it was, and so I know all 10 he has. He knows all 10 we have. I always say we when I'm referring to myself for some reason. So basically, I just had to look at his 10 and figure out which 6 would best cover his 10. So these are the ones that I settled for. I'm running sort of pseudo Sun. It's not really Sun, it's just, a boost for my Charizard, and some of my Pokemon like it. But, he brought, Latias, Heracross, Blissey, Meowstic, Spiritomb, and Dragonite to counter my 6. And, looking at his team, I really felt that Raichu and Hydreigon would be the best lead. Raichu has Fake Out. Hydreigon just has power, so that's all that's important. And Hydreigon does hit pretty much his entire team either super effectively or very hard. So I'm going to hit play, and we're going to get started. I believe he starts off with Spiritomb and Dragonite. Now, Spiritomb in Gen 5 had no weaknesses, but with the introduction of Fairy, it now has a weakness to Fairy. So, with that Spiritomb, my Mr. Mime is actually going to become decently important because it's the only thing that can hit it for super effective damage. But yeah, so this first turn I decided to fake out the Dragonite because I wanted to break its multi-scale, just in case it had weakness policy. It turns out it has Red Car, which is an interesting move, an interesting item, sorry, but either way, this way my Draco Meteor can come in, completely destroy this Dragonite without any worries about it at all. Dragonite is probably Chucho's signature Pokemon. Dragonite can just destroy souls. I know I've run a Dragonite without any EVs by complete accident, and I've still swept teams. So I know that this thing's a threat, so that's why I faked out and Draco Meteored it. I just needed it to die, and thankfully it worked out very well in my favor. So in comes Heracross, and he still has Spiritomb out. He burnt me, and fearing the burn, I switch out my Mienshao because I have no reason to keep it in here, and plus, my Mr. Mime does have a Lumberry. I decide to stay in with my Hydreigon. I'm not really sure. This battle was quite a while ago. I think I forgot about the -2 drop, thinking, hey, my flamethrower is probably going to kill it, or at least do enough damage. On the flip side of that, outside of Mr. Mime, really, I don't have anything to switch in on this Heracross. I could switch in my Charizard, but I'd rather not take that damage. So it just ended up staying in and eating a close combat, which is terrible, but not the worst thing in the world. I have other things for this Heracross. Hydreigon did its job of taking out Dragonite, and that's all I really cared about. So now I'm going to bring in Charizard. Unfortunately, I don't have Heat Wave on this, but I do have Flamethrower, and I predicted the Heracross to switch out. There's no reason why it would stay in. So instead of flamethrowing the Heracross, I decided to flamethrower the Spiritomb, and then just go Dazzling Gleam on my opponent because I figured whatever he's gonna bring in, damage is damage. It's gonna do something, and that's all I'm really looking for. So he decides to actually Shadow Sneak the Mr. Mime, which is a decent idea in theory, but my Mr. Mime is really bulky. It's bold. It's filter. It has a very odd EV spread that I can't remember offhand, but there's no way that Shadow Sneak was going to do more than half, so it really worked out in my favor. I mean, I did take more damage than I really wanted to, but it's less than I'm sure he thought it would have. So he brings in Heracross, and me just completely spacing, forget that Meowstic does in fact have Fake Out, and that kind of screwed me up a little bit here because I ended up losing my Charizard to Rock Blast. Now, I did Flamethrower the Metagross, or not the Metagross, what am I saying? The Heracross. They both end in Os, so I guess that's fair enough, right? Now I bring in the Metagross. So I end up losing Charizard, which is really unfortunate because Charizard is definitely one of those Pokemon that can turn a whole battle upside down. You know, it's powerful, it's got great moves, and it has so much. Well, I already said it has power, but yeah. So I bring in Metagross because I knew the Bullet Punch would be more than enough to take out the Heracross, and then I can sort of use my Dazzling Gleam as a full powered move on Meowstic. Unfortunately, he did go for Light Screen, so it's not going to really do too much, but like I always say, damage is damage, and he doesn't have Citrus Berry, so that's really good for me. I go for Bullet Punch on the Meowstic, not the Latias, because I'm not really too worried about the Latias. You know, I've got a Fairy type, I've got a Steel type. I'm not really sure if it can really do anything to me. I'm pretty sure it doesn't get Flamethrower. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he didn't use it, so I'm going to assume he doesn't have it. And the Meowstic really does support the team, and if I didn't get rid of that Meowstic, who knows what else it could have done. Now, with the Light Screen up, my Dazzling Gleam doesn't do nearly enough, which is unfortunate. But I decided to double attack the Latias here. I figured, you know, Bullet Punch and Dazzling Gleam would be enough. He probably thought I would not go for the Latias here, probably go for the Blissey, because Blissey is a huge threat. But I figured the Latias was a little bit more of a threat, and I figured I could probably take it out, and Blissey would be very easy to take out, especially considering I have Mienshao in the back. I didn't really have anything for Latias to hit it super effectively, so Metagross was really my only choice there. I mean, I do have Mr. Mime, but let's be real here, Mr. Mime's not doing very good damage. So here's sort of where I made kind of an error. He only has Blissey left, right? That much we can agree upon. My Metagross is Choice Band, so I'm locked into Bullet Punch. Now, Bullet Punch isn't doing nearly enough damage, and, you know, I'm about to die to Seismic Toss. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, this doesn't really matter. I have Mienshao in the back. There isn't really anything for me to worry about losing my Metagross. But in the back of my mind, I'm realizing High Jump Kick could end up killing me. And I'm not really sure what to do here. I ended up really screwing myself over here because I'm relying on a move that when miss damages me when I had a Choice Banded Hammer Arm right there. So what I was really thinking is I should have switched out my Metagross, brought in Mienshao to take the heat, and then if say Mienshao died to High Jump Kick, I have a very solid backup behind me. So what this forced me to do was basically sort of just go for Rock Slide, predicting him to go for Protect when he's not going for Protect, and I'm in a bad position. I'm in a really bad position. Now, he Toxics the Mr. Mime, which was an interesting choice because, let's be real here, Mr. Mime's doing absolutely nothing to this Blissey. Not literally, but almost. I made sure, you know, this Mienshao can do High Jump Kick 3 times. It can do it 3 times and miss 3, or it can miss twice, but it has to hit the 3rd one. So I figured I'm just gonna jump the gun, I'm gonna go for it. I hit Protect, so I lose that. I do it again, I miss, and now I am just like so frustrated with myself. I was like, I had the most perfect counter to this thing. It was perfect! And I got rid of it because I was relying on something like High Jump Kick. And that just, oh my god. So now I have to go for Rock Slide, and I just have to keep trying to damage this Blissey, trying to avoid these Protects. And, you know, luckily enough, my opponent really didn't attack my Mienshao. I think the reasoning behind that was because he knew I wasn't going to be going for High Jump Kick. You know, there was no reason for me to go to High Jump Kick. I also still had Raichu in the back, which really doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does have Fake Out, it can do some stuff. So I think in his mind, he was probably thinking, okay, he's not going to be going for high jump kick. No way. So I'm just not going to bother with it. But finally, I go for high jump kick. It connects, and he goes down. But I gotta say, I was so ridiculously, like, upset at myself. Because here I am, I have a Metagross, Choice Banded. I'm pretty sure it has, what, base 135 attack? That's 120 base power coming off of something like that. And I was like, nah, it's okay. I got this unreliable move. Now, both of those moves have a chance to miss. They're both, it's both 90% accuracy, but Hammer Arm only lowers my speed. It's not like I'm really that fast to begin with. Why did I do that? Why did I do that to myself? But either way, you know, I ended up winning because, you know, my opponent decided that I was not going to be going for high jump kick, and you know what, the way I was playing, I don't think even I wanted to go for high jump kick. 2 in a row, and I only had one chance to hit it off. And I guess at this point in time, I didn't have Focus Blast on my Raichu, otherwise I would have gone for that. But yeah, don't do what I did, guys. If you have pretty much a guarantee win with something, don't let it die. That was my win condition, and I let it die. You know, that was such a bad play. So either way, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to Mount Silver Battles. We're trying to do really good with this. All of the guys, what am I saying, a lot of the guys? All of the people that upload are fantastic people, so check out their channels as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Peace.